morning. My name is Leslie Williams and I am in San Diego, California, and I'm going to go ahead and just fly right into the reason why I'm making this video. And this particular video is going to show you, I'm going to describe to you different descriptions concerning one whole expedition, but different variables involved concerning it. Because I believe that fellow San Diegoans, fellow Californians, and actually Americans need to understand what is happening in our communities as a direct result of what is known as organized stalking. So I'm just going to go ahead and fly right into this video in reference to each particular description, because each description are pertinent variables in reference to the holistic pictures of these expeditions, but by no means are they the entire scope of the variables involved. Go to YouTube and type in Jesse Ventura, The Brain Invaders. Now when you hear that title, you might think to yourself, what? Or that sounds too science fiction for you, or it just might sound like something that doesn't interest you. But I'm here, fellow Americans and fellow San Diegoans and fellow Californians, to tell you that if you watch this show and watch the whole entire show, you will eventually be glad that you did. And the reason why I say that is because towards the end of the show, an ex-DOD and CIA scientist by the name of Robert Becker is literally on the show admitting that he helped develop the technology that is being used towards hundreds of thousands of Americans right now in real time, and that's not including the ones who have already died as a direct result of torture on American soil. And before I continue these statements, I want to also brief you that these expeditions are going on worldwide. So I don't view any, not that my opinion matters to the entire world, but just a personal opinion is that I don't view any American citizens' life any more important than concerning how this is happening to other individuals in other countries. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth concerning these expeditions, the type of people involved, the places that are involved, the places that can be used, and how innocent community members are being duped to do certain things towards innocent human beings, usually based on slander, that is usually being solicited by somebody that's either got a power position in the community or a respectable appearing position in the community, like a police officer, a firefighter, even a librarian, or somebody that works on a college campus, okay, that might be deemed as somebody that has an authoritative position, like even campus police or a teacher or staff on the university campus. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue my explanation when it comes to the Jesse Ventura video. If you look at that video at the very beginning of it, it talks about Judge Judy that has been affected by this technology. It literally shows how a reporter was literally talking and saying words that made no sense whatsoever. And I'm here to deconstruct that a little bit for you so you can understand what's happening to us targets, but what's actually happening to the people that they're getting to harass a target. They're being neurally choreographed for future exploitation. Go to Google and type in live leak Julian McKinney and Greg Skamansky and listen to the entire radio interview that's online, and then look at the text summary concerning what the radio interview is about. Julian McKinney flat out states that it's the ones that they're getting to harass a target on the dispensing end, they are the ones who are being choreographed. And how are they being choreographed? Go to the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance and look at the bottom of their homepage. You will witness 3 PDF links. The first 2 are extremely important, but the third one is just as important. And basically what it is that it's technology that has been developed by the military. The wealthy can get a hold of it. The military is definitely also in charge of it. And organized crime groups are also connected to these technologies. But here's the thing, here's one binding tie to the entire thing. It's protected by the government. Now when the organized crime gets a hold of this technology, what they don't want, what the military don't want, and what the government doesn't want, even though there are organized crime syndicate members in the government, including at the military level, they do not want the average American populace to know that these technological resources are out in the community being used on their relatives, their sons, their daughters, their aunts, their grandmothers, their brothers, their sisters, and so on. And the reason why they don't want you to know it is because right now, pretty much, this technology, and Jesse Ventura and Robert Becker even say it, this technology will be used on everybody someday, okay? And this is in part, I believe, and people who have done extensive research in reference to these expeditions have, and even Julian McKinney states it, that basically what's coming down the road is a Holocaust. Now you might hear that, you might think that this woman has got off the deep end. She's got some high-minded ideas concerning what's going on as a result of her being possibly tortured. Understand this and be clear. The statements that I make are literally regurgitated statements based on extremely in-depth research, educated knowledge, okay? And the people in the Jesse Ventura show are flat out stating it. Now, basically, when you look at the beginning of that show, the Jesse Ventura show, and you see that reporter talking, but she's not making no sense. And how is that? Well, I just got to mentioning to you that the Grudge Scamasking in the Julian McKinney live leak broadcast that you can Google flat out states that the individuals they're getting to harass a target, any target, whether it be me or anybody else that's targeted, they're the ones who are being neurally choreographed. The language area of the brain is one specific area of the brain, and specific movements of your arms, legs, feet, and hands are motor cortex associated behavior, usually directed by either unconscious influences, environmental influences, or psychological direction that comes from either the unconscious, the preconscious, or the consciousness. Sometimes the subconscious as well. So hang on a second. So when you have a third party soliciting possibly your relative or your son or your daughter on a college campus, at a public library, at a grocery store, at a movie theater, at a bank, at a post office, at a bus stop, on a bus route, if you have an individual that has either entered your life or is approaching you as a result of them flashing a badge, which might either be real or fake, go to YouTube and type in "listen to a stranger," you can come to understand that the people that are soliciting a possible friend or family member of yours, no matter where they're at, in reference to the descriptions I just described, like post offices, universities, public libraries, if they are approaching somebody that you know, or anybody in the community, to do a specific thing towards a target, that person they're soliciting to do it is being neurally choreographed by a third party that is usually connected to the person that's soliciting them to do it. So they can be neurally choreographed in reference to the language area of the brain and the motor cortex associated behaviors in reference to the psychological direction that they're being given to do towards the target. Hands, feet, to get up and go to the target. The physical gestures that a target experiences by the person who's been solicited to do it towards the target, like putting your hands to your face, to your mouth, to your nose, putting your arm behind the back, putting your hand on your buttock, okay? When we come to understand the factual realities that the ones that they're getting to harass a target are the ones who are being currently neurally choreographed, why would that be? Now, if a person is solicited to get around me and say a certain thing towards me overtly in my environment, like if I'm on a bus, before I get on a bus or before I go to a specific place, no matter where I go, throughout each day, I'll make a video file concerning where I'm at a specific location, and I'll show a cell phone picture of the date and time. And I'll say in this video file, let's see if I hear gang stalker, oh my god, weird, crazy, or a couple other choice phrases along my routes. Once I leave the environment where I'm making the video at, this shows the picture of my cell phone, which shows the date and time. I then go to the places that I either describe on the video or running digital audio recorder that I wear attached to my chest. I then go to those places, and those words are repeatedly said around me by individuals who have been duped to get around me as a result of me being tracked. They know where I'm at in space and time as a result of at least GPS tracking of my cell phone, okay? Then they place the individuals they solicit for the day to harass me through these methods. They're called direct conversation methods or anchored physical gestures. And what they do is get these people to get around my environment as a result of them knowing where I'm going because of the tracking. Once I get to, like, say, Albertsons or any other type of grocery store, I get there and those persons will engage in what I predict in the video file before I even left to go there. Okay? And why is that? Well, when they solicit them to say specific things around me, it's because they're solicited to get up and go, to be at a place I'm going to say a certain word. To get up and go and walking and getting behind and getting your car keys and getting in your car to go to a place I'm going to be at, and then to engage in certain physical gestures or statements, which is language. The physical gestures are the motor cortex associated behaviors. The getting up and go to go to the place I'm going to be at is the get up and go response of the legs, the motor cortex actions of the feet, the legs and the arms and the hands of actually getting up and doing what you got to do to go to a place I'm going to be at. And then the language, the direct conversation methods, are the statements that are purposely said around me that they're told to do around me, concerning me. That's language area of the brain. So we got motor cortex associated behaviors when it comes to the hands, the arms, the get up and go of the feet and the legs, the actions involved in going to do it, and then the language in reference to what they're told to say around me. These are all brain functions, neurally being choreographed. The physiological responses, the psychological direction, the motor cortex associated behavior, and the language area of the brains are being monitored by the people that are getting to solicit to harass me. Now think about this. Why at the beginning of Jesse Ventura's Brain Invaders, when they show a TV reporter trying to give a news broadcast on her microphone, okay, as she's being recorded, she's saying things that don't make no sense because they have neurally choreographed her brain and are literally compromising her brain to literally speak like a word salad, where the brains, see, because like one area of the brain will light up. Go to YouTube and type in Leslie Stahl 60 Minutes Mind Control, and you'll eventually see her covering either on 60 Minutes or 2020, shows her videotaping a person who's sitting down with a thing on his head, and he's shown a picture of a hammer and another object, and then the person, as a result of seeing the picture, thinks the word of the picture that he's seen. As a result, a specific area of his brain lights up, and the things that are attached to his head is attached to a computer. That computer then picks up what he's processing in reference to what he recognizes that the picture is in reference to the word he's processing to identify the picture. And the computer literally picks up and identifies him saying, like if he sees a picture of a hammer, he thinks to himself, hammer. The electrodes from his brain that are going into the computer spits out the word hammer. That's because they have literally been able to decipher evoked potentials, the EEG spikes in reference to each particular type of word that a human being is processing. Okay? Yes. And so what they're doing is basically neurally choreographing people's brains in reference to specific words that compose sentences for psychological direction. And that's why this reporter was compromised. They compromised her brain in order to be able to infiltrate and infuse and corrupt and confuse the language areas of her brain as she was speaking. This is going to eventually be used for some of the most criminal aspirations on the general public that it's right now being used on targeted individuals. And we're talking about psychological direction even to take a target from A to B to C to D for human trafficking, sexual servitude rings, and the neural enslavement that controls it. And I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth. I have been gaslighted by over 1,000 people in just in a year and a half here in California since I arrived back here on August 8th, 2011 up to this date, March 10th, 2013, by over 1,000 people, including students and staff on university campuses, 3 university campuses, at multiple public libraries. Yes, yes. I've been gaslighted by people, which means that they have been literally told to get up and go and be where I'm going to be at to do these things so they can be neurally choreographed. The neural phone, remote neural monitoring is being used, and is the monitors in stores and libraries and universities that are on the walls and the ceilings, are they being used for these monitoring purposes? Look in the description of this YouTube video for cooperating material in reference to these statements, and another video title that'll help you understand further concerning what I'm talking about, and go to www.surveillanceissues.com. I make these videos to inform, to expose, to help you, and they're coming after me like you wouldn't believe the government is, because I'm exposing the truth, and they will call me crazy, even though it was on the Jesse Ventura Brain Invader show and on Valentine's Day on Coast to Coast, 2/14/13 Coast to Coast, George Norrie and Roger Tulsis. I strongly suggest you look at the 3 PDF links at the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance, cross-reference that information to the Coast to Coast broadcast, and come to understand the factual realities that I am literally telling you the truth. And I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth, so you can protect your family. Thank you.